Hey everyone, welcome to Mr. U's Reviews. Today I'm reviewing the new film on Netflix, Project Power. This film is about a dangerous pill that when people take it, they get random superpowers for 5 minutes. So, an ex-soldier played by Jamie Foxx, a cop played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and a teenage dealer of this pill must team up to find and take down the team behind it. As always, let's start off with the pros. The cast in this film, which includes Jamie Foxx, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Dominique Fishback, they all do a good job portraying their roles. Jamie Foxx as this ex-soldier brings some surprising emotion to the film through his backstory, which propels him to try and find the creators of this pill. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I'm a fan of his, especially his performances in Inception and 50/50 and even more films. Over here he plays a cop, and it seems like he's taken a break from acting before this film, so it was nice to see him again in this cool role as this cop. And Dominique Fishback, who plays this teenage dealer of this pill, who gets kind of caught up in this hunt for the group that created it. She displays some talent through her rapping in this film and acting, and it's the first film I've seen her in, so I wouldn't be surprised if she shows up in more films in the near future, because this film really showcases her talents and acting. In addition, the visual effects and makeup in this film were both quite cool. They did a nice job making the visual effects look realistic on the characters, especially when they're using their powers and getting them at first. And the makeup was really showcased during the aftermath of the powers. When these 5 minutes are up and the characters kind of get back to normal, they don't look normal just yet. They still kind of have the effects of the powers, like the after effects of them. And there's this one character who gets these fire powers, and once those 5 minutes are up, he looks all burnt still and kind of drained from these abilities. So the makeup really complemented the visual effects, and it was a nice mixture of both. Still, there are some aspects of this film that could have been improved, and this includes the story and the character development of certain characters. With the story, this idea and concept is pretty nice if you're a big fan of these superhero films and science fiction genres. And just this idea that you can take a pill, get these superpowers that are individual for everybody. It's different for every person. It's pretty cool, and you could take many different routes with this idea as it's basic. But the film takes a route that's fine, it's okay, but it really had the potential to be something bigger, memorable, maybe even groundbreaking. But the film instead goes for this, fine plot, when it could have been really just something more memorable. And with the character development, most of the characters are well developed, especially Jamie Foxx's character, where you learn about his backstory and why he wants to find the creators of this pill. But Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, on the other hand, was poorly developed in my opinion. You only learn a little bit about him in the present, but I would have loved to learn more about his past and how he got to where he was at the start of the film. But instead they just give you a little bit of information just to get to know the character a little bit. Also, although the action scenes in this film were vibrant, there were aspects of them that made them feel too polished, even though there's this dark and gritty tone. Like whenever these characters are fighting each other or chasing after each other, the frame rate increases to make these scenes feel smoother, but that kind of counters the gritty tone that the filmmakers were going for. And That isn't to say that there's a problem with the directing. The directing worked well for this film, but with the frame rate and the action scenes, those could have been improved. And even with the lighting and cinematography, those two things, they're pretty bright for a dark and gritty film. So if they kind of, you toned those aspects down, maybe even made them a little bit darker, it would have totally worked with this film. In the end, Project Power was fine. There were some good aspects here, such as the acting from Jamie Foxx, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and even Dominique Fishback, who showcases her talents here. And some great additions were the visual effects and makeup. But the story and plot that the filmmakers went with doesn't really show the potential that this concept had. The film could have been really big and memorable, but instead they go for a fairly basic plotline. And even some of the characters were not as developed as I had hoped. So, although there's the good acting, if the characters were developed even more as well, it would have been a perfect combination of both. And as I say again, some of the action scenes could have been, improved and less polished. There was a polished feel to them. But, if the concept interests you, I say give it a shot. It's on Netflix. And I give Project Power a C+. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget your popcorn. Until next time, from Mr. U to you, stay tuned.